first episode of our second season. We're going to start this year's show off with Bethune-Cookman football. They get a big win over FIU, 34-14. With Bethune-Cookman playing upper conference, this is big news for Bethune-Cookman University football team. How do you feel about that, CJ?
Bethune-Cookman came out and played excellent against the FBS opponent, the first in Wildcat history. Anthony Jordan came with 150 rushing yards with a touchdown with a big 46-yard run. Isidore Jackson had a hurt shoulder last game against Virginia Union, and Anthony Jordan really answered the bell. To have that thunder and lightning combination of Anthony Jordan and Isidore Jackson, it should go a long way for the Wildcats when it comes to playoff implications and the MEAC run.
Coming up on the season, Jordan, he actually helped Bethune-Cookman improve to a 3-0 all-time against the 0-3 Panthers and win over to a 10-game winning streak for the past two seasons. FIU, they had no answers for Cookman rushing attack. I say the Wildcats rolled up to 311 yards from the ground while dominating in time of possession. 3 different backs also ran for 65 yards and a touchdown, including quarterback Quentin Williams.
I'm glad to see Anthony Jordan go out there and have a good game because, last season he had a knee injury.
Torn ACL.
That hindered him, and he was a big guy. I know he lost some weight. He got his size back and beefed himself back up. And I'm just glad that without Ike's presence in the backfield, we still have other running backs who can substitute and have equal success at it.
No doubt about it. This could be the deepest Bethune-Cookman team that we ever had. You have a lot of D1 transfers, guys that came ready to play, who played on the FBS level, who knows what it takes to beat a team like FIU. They wasn't rattled at all. Playing against Miami those 2 years really helped them out for this big moment, and now they got to move it on to a good Florida State team. But beating FIU 34-13 is a real
big.
It's a real eye-opener to say towards the nation, and with playoff voters, that playoff win is going to have big implications with the postseason.
All right, and as a historically black university, and we play in a league of the MEAC conference, and that's not a league that has emerged amongst ESPNs and getting a lot of recognition. But
for the MEAC as a whole, this win speaks totals. Because the MEAC has been getting a bad rap as one of the weaker program, the weaker conferences in the FCS football division. So to have a win against the FBS team really is putting the MEAC on the map.
Okay, Bethune-Cookman, they're rolling 3-0. Momentum's going, but next week is their biggest, I would say probably their biggest opponent in the Bethune-Cookman football history of football here. They have FSU, the Seminoles. They're one of the best football teams in college football on the Division I level.
Right.
So how do you feel like Cookman can prepare, or are they prepared to even contend or possibly win that game?
Well, mainly what I say is, Florida State being the number 8 contender in the nation, I think that as for Wildcats, I think we should just go down there and just play Wildcat football and, just contribute a good defense. And, we have a lot of good seniors out there. Tim Burke, who also added an interceptor from Jake Matlock in the fourth quarter, and where he scored off his own 8-yard line. We should just go down there and just play Wildcat football and just have some fun.
No doubt about it. This is the biggest opponent in Bethune-Cookman history, playing against Florida State in Doak Campbell Stadium, one of the most rich tradition programs in the nation. But it's going to be a big test for the Wildcats to show what they have. A lot of these guys for us feel they should be playing at Florida State, Florida, Miami. So they're going to have let's say a lot of animosity on their chest to get it off and show them, hey, we belong here. We deserve to be here too. And Florida State ranked the number 8 team in the country. They've been rolling. They beat Pittsburgh 43-13, and they beat a good Nevada team 62-7. So it's going to be tough for us. But Wildcats, we play good defense, and we can control the run, and we can stop the young redshirt freshman phenom and Jameis Winston. We should have a pretty good outing. I'm not saying that, I'm not guaranteeing a win or whatnot, but it should be a pretty good outing. We should get a lot of respect from the ACC conference in Florida State for the game that we put up.
I think the struggle that's going to come with Bethune-Cookman's football team versus Florida State, I think as far as the skill players, they can contend and match up, not exact matchup, but closer than the comparison of the defense and offensive line. Because,
like I said, the skill position, they're evenly matched. I feel like our receivers, our cornerbacks, our running backs can play anywhere in the country.
A lot of them came from big
Exactly.
programs.
We have a lot of D1 transfer. Eddie Poole came from Rutgers. You have Finney, the cornerback, came from Miami. Daron Dodd, the defensive end, came from Miami. We have a lot of big D1 guys on our program, so they're going to show that what they can do.
And like I said, I think the struggle is going to come in those trenches because our average lineman is 6'3", 280 pounds to 300 pounds, as opposed to Florida State's average lineman size 6'5", 6'6", 40 or 50 pounds higher, that makes a big deal when it comes to, especially college football, just because those trenches is where it matters at. It's all started at the line.
It all starts with offensive and defensive line. You can't win games without a good offensive line and a good defensive line.
Exactly.
It's going to be a hefty battle for the Wildcats against the Seminoles.
We'll see. But Texas A&M's Johnny Manziel, he's undergoing football allegations for signing autographs, but he had an excellent game yesterday versus the #1 seed Alabama. 460 yards passing and 90 yards rushing. That's
Amazing.
almost unheard of for a quarterback.
Against Alabama, the best defense in the country.
Great SEC football, I say, guys. Very good.
Now, just Johnny Manziel in general, how do y'all feel about, okay, he won Heisman last year. He's a young kid. He's getting a lot of negative media light about signing the autographs and also negative media light about how he's taking and handling the situation, making a mockery and a joke of it. But, he's a young guy like we are, so if we were in that situation, how do you feel like you'd be dealing with that pressure?
I mean, signing autographs, first of all, the NCAA has been getting the bad routes for that situation since it came about. If you go back to the time when it happened, the NCAA, if you type in Johnny Manziel or Jadeveon Clowney, the defensive end for South Carolina, into Google or the NCAA website, their jerseys would be coming up where the NCAA was profiting off of these guys. So why can't a guy like Johnny Manziel or Jadeveon Clowney get money off of their hand signature? But the NCAA, who's preaching not profiting from your own name, are profiting itself from the player's name, which is insane.
Exactly. I feel like if it's going to be a profit made off of your name, at least your family should be compensated, if not you directly. The money's coming from somewhere, and if Johnny Manziel is getting it, he's breaking the rules. That's wrong. I understand that.
Yeah, rules are rules.
Rules are rules, and you got to follow them. If he breaks the rules, then the next player that comes along can do the same thing and say, well, y'all didn't do this when Manziel did it.
Exactly. But I feel like the rules should be changed, and college players should get a stipend of what they contribute to the football team. You take, for example, Johnny Manziel, who has everyone wants to buy a Johnny Manziel jersey. Everybody wants to buy Texas A&M tickets. The university, college football as a whole is making billions off these college athletes. And you have guys like Johnny Manziel, well not Johnny Manziel because he comes from a pretty well-rounded home, but say a guy from the inner city of Miami or this, that, or other who goes to a school and they're making money off of his name. But he has problems at home with family struggling. The NCAA, the colleges as a whole should help these players out. I'm not saying they should get $50,000 or $60,000 NFL money, because that's being in the NFL before you actually get to the NFL. But at some point, you should help these players out. I mean, $5,000 to $10,000 a year, plus their financial aid or whatnot, can help a lot of problems out back home with struggling families and also for themselves. College students live really rough. And the perception that college athletes have it all handed to them and it's all a red carpet is totally wrong.
I think what makes it hard for college players to decipher what's right about that situation, because when you have that celebrity type of image and you affect that many people, and if you walk into a crowded room and it's you, people are excited because of your name. I feel like that when you reach that certain level of celebrity and you're not being compensated financially, that's when it becomes an issue. But outside of Johnny Manziel's allegations off the field and anything he had going on, let's talk about the great performance he had yesterday versus Alabama.
I mean, Alabama is basically an NFL team when it comes to the style of coaching and the style of defense they play. You go back to the past drafts, the whole draft has been full of Alabama defensive players. And for 2 years in a row, I mean, this guy has just shredded Alabama. It's ridiculous. And Nick Saban, he's at his best when he has time to prepare. The last two BCS national championships, when he has time to prepare or a week or more, he's totally dominated opponents. But for some reason, this guy, Johnny Football, he's defying the odds. I mean, 500 total yards, almost 600 total yards, 5 touchdowns against the Nick Saban coach team. It's unheard of. This guy, I said it before, I believe he has NFL talent. I believe he can be a great NFL quarterback. I mean, he's proven it now against the best defenses in the country, in the SEC. He's making it like high school. It's child's play to him.
You also have to look at the receiver, Evans, who had 6 receptions for 279 yards. He also had a great performance yesterday against Alabama, but unfortunately came up a little short.
Without a doubt, though, he had a great performance against Alabama. But, boy, if you look at the highlights of the game, look at the plays, the plays were made with Johnny Manziel's legs. Him scrambling around the pocket, finding time downfield, because it could have been, or for an average quarterback, Alabama would have had about 7 or 8 sacks. But it's Johnny Football we're talking about.
I think what I can appreciate about the whole situation with Johnny Manziel, most and foremost, is how young he is and how he's keeping his composure through all the negative media attention that he's getting, and still pretty much putting his foot in these guys' mouths because he's still out there playing like the Heisman winner.
Like he's sort of like setting the trend for progressing quarterbacks who's coming up.
No doubt about it. I feel like this is the new trend in the NFL. If you go to the NFL, you look at the Russell Wilsons, the RG3s,
right, all quarterbacks.
the Colin Kaepernicks.
This is the man that should be mobile these days.
With the zone read, the epidemic of the zone read, Johnny Manziel is the perfect option for that.
Okay, well, we take this segment over to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is 45-0. He hasn't taken a loss yet. He beats you with his skill, with his intelligence, with his quickness.
Money team.
How do you guys feel about the Floyd Mayweather fight and the outcome? It wasn't a unanimous decision, but I feel like
been a unanimous decision.
Had you watched that fight and saw how Floyd took him to school, punch by punch, blow by blow, I just don't see how it wasn't unanimous, but he got the win nonetheless.
I'm not sure what was over that judge for not calling him unanimous, but Floyd is arguably could be, when it's all said and done, the best boxer ever. I mean, Alvarez is a 23-year-old champion, 42 wins, 0 losses, 1 tie. 23 years old and have fought in 43 fights, or 44 including Floyd is ridiculous. Right. I mean, this guy, I saw him dismantle Sugar Shane Mosley like he was like me versus my little brother or something.
Exactly.
But then you put Floyd in the ring, and Floyd is just years and levels beyond this guy. It's amazing. Everybody plays against, he makes it look so easy, and people want to say Floyd's not having competitive fights or whatnot, but you got to look at it this way. Floyd is just head over heels better than everybody else.
Exactly.
His skills just speak for himself.
No matter who y'all put against Floyd, it's gonna seem like the competitive level isn't up to par with Floyd because Mayweather is just Mayweather.
Exactly.
And I mean, I was actually surprised the fight went the whole 12 rounds because I thought Floyd was gonna go in there and just dismantle him. But one thing I can say about Alvarez is that, you know, he held his composure. He never once ran from Floyd Mayweather. He never once got frustrated and, you know, he fought his fight, but at the same time had to transition to fight Mayweather's fight because whoever fights Mayweather is going to fight Mayweather's fight.
Exactly. He controls the fight with his tempo and the style he wants to play. Alvarez is the bigger fighter. He wanted to more so bully Floyd, but he just couldn't get it done because of the style, the smarts. I mean, when you have 36 years, well, actually 20 years, 36-year-old, 20 years into professional boxing, I mean, you're going to be smarter than your opponent 9 times out of 10.
Exactly. And
he showed that, hey, I'm the wiser guy and you're the young fella.
Right.
But watch out for Alvarez. Alvarez is going to be a name to follow for years to come. He's a young champion.
Yeah, he is. And we were just talking about college football players being compensated. Let's talk about Mayweather getting paid $1 million a minute. For every minute he fights in that ring, he gets paid $1 million. He's by far the highest paid athlete. Do you guys feel like his level of skill and how he's emerged to be the top fighter, do you think that he's being compensated a little bit too much for what he's doing?
You can't. There's 3 words to that. Team money team.
Hey man, you have money way with it. He's the big ticket. He's the man. He demands the big money. And today's day and age with the big dollar, I feel like if you put Muhammad Ali in his day and age, he would grow tremendously from.
Exactly.
He would have a tremendous amount of success in this era because of the way he talked and the way he backed up on his fight in the ring. He's the type of fighter that Floyd is, but he's the only athlete I can see that can make the type of money that Floyd made if he was in this era. But Floyd is fully taking advantage of it. He's the big ticket. He's the best in the world. So I mean, why not pay the top dollar? People want to see a man that could talk a lot of smack, and he definitely backs it up.
Exactly.
And see, that's the reason I believe that people buy his fight so much. People want him to lose. Yeah. People want, because the amount he talks about his fights, the trash talk he does basically. People want to see a guy like that lose, but I mean, hey, talk the talk, you can back it up.
So with 12 fights remaining under Floyd's contract, do you believe like those fights should be still given to us as the people, or we should? Because he's obviously undefeated with 45-0. So should Floyd fight again? Should we see another Floyd fight?
I definitely want to see Floyd fight again, just because if he was going into his fights and I was noticing weaknesses and like his age of getting the show or anything negative, you know, I would want Floyd to go ahead and call it quits before he takes a loss. But when his game is just still elevating, no matter how old he gets,
Floyd look better every fight.
Right, he looks better and better every fight. So
I have to say, this is probably the best fight I've seen him have like under every skill level of boxing.
Yeah, maybe since the Oscar De La Hoya fight.
As a fan, I don't want to be robbed. I want to see as much Floyd as I can until he until he throwing punches as slow as I throw them.
Yeah, and I still have hope for the Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight. Even though Pacquiao lost his last 2 fights, I still want to see that one, even though I think Floyd would take it handily.
With Pacquiao losing the last 2 fights, I don't think it's even appropriate for him to fight Floyd anymore, because the reason that it was such a big uproar in the media about the fight not happening is because at the time Pacquiao was on a streak. He hadn't lost in a while.
Exactly.
And he was probably the next best contender to Floyd Mayweather. But now that he's lost them fights to some no-name guys, not no-name guys, but Floyd Mayweather no-name guys as a level I'm talking about as far as skill, then I don't think it even matters anymore. But Floyd Mayweather is clearly the best fighter in boxing right now. See, we're talking about the best. We can take it over to college football, the top 5 Heisman hopefuls.
My top 5 Heisman hopefuls, I have Johnny Manziel, Taj Boyd, Marcus Mariota for Oregon, Braxton Miller. He's also a Heisman hopeful. Those guys are amazing. And then you have the Louisville guy, Teddy Bridgewater. With those 5 guys, I believe it's going to come down to them. People had Jadeveon Clowney in there early, but it's hard for a defensive player, period, to win the Heisman unless you play offense. The only defensive player to win the Heisman was Charles Woodson, and Charles Woodson played offense, defense, and he returned kicks and punts. So for those 5 guys, quarterback is the glamour position in football right now. So without a doubt, those guys will win the Heisman. One of those guys will win the Heisman. And it's all going to boil down to, I believe, Teddy Bridgewater. He can win it, but his strength of schedule is just horrendous. His toughest competition will probably Kentucky this past week, and he plays Cincinnati down the road. You have a guy like Johnny Manziel who plays LSU, has great performances against Alabama. You have Arkansas. He has to go through the whole SEC schedule. He has a possible SEC championship date, which may be unlikely since they just lost to Alabama. Then you go to a guy like Taj Boyd for Clemson, who just recently beat a top 5 opponent in Georgia. He has the credentials to win. He's an ACC champion. He has Florida State left on the schedule, South Carolina left on the schedule, a possible ACC championship, and a possible national championship. So for someone to win the Heisman, I feel like they have to play in those big hype games.
Exactly. But one thing I also feel to kind of disagree with CJ right now is if a quarterback is in a program where he doesn't have a hard schedule and the strength is just isn't as hard, do you think that should have anything to do with him not winning the Heisman?
I believe
because
so,
it's
absolutely. Because it's about those big time moments in those big time games. When it's 3rd and 7, you're down by 3. You got to have a Heisman moment. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is great by all matters of the stretch, but I'm not sure this year he'll have a Heisman moment. Because throughout all the games, he should be out within the 3rd quarter because of blowouts.
Right. Yeah, that also has a lot to do with it, because he's actually robbed of stats he could get.
Exactly.
Because he's not needed.
I just feel like you got to have a Heisman moment, that tough game, on the road or at home, national TV, all eyes on you. Who's going to step up and make that play?
On my behalf, on Heisman moments, I have to say, like, coming off, you speaking on Teddy Bridgewater as one of the Heisman candidates as a quarterback. He had a rough first half against Kentucky, just 9 of 19 passes.
Exactly. He had an average day.
He was able to come back and complete a whole 180-degree turnaround with completing 5 of his first 7 attempts, where he finished 16 of 28 for 250 yards and a touchdown.
250 yards is child's play compared to numbers Johnny Manziel puts up
versus Alabama.
Against Alabama. You compare Kentucky defense to Alabama defense, I'm pretty sure there's not one draft pick on Kentucky defense. I'm pretty sure all 11 from Alabama will probably be in there getting drafted at one point in time.
How big would it be for media in college football in Texas A&M if Johnny Manziel can repeat a Heisman?
Repeat? It only happened one time with Archie Griffin, the running back from Ohio State. But I mean, the loss to Alabama hurt him, but at the same time it helped him, because you put up 500-plus yards on a defense like Alabama, it's ridiculous. You lose 45-42. But I will say the 2 interceptions that Johnny Manziel had against Alabama, one return for a pick-6, was kind of the turning points of that game and whatnot. But Johnny, you have numbers like that. I mean, Johnny Manziel most definitely can repeat. But I will say this: I'm not sure Heisman voters will vote for him again because they feel like the off-field allegations. The Heisman should be. They feel like you should be a squeaky clean player to win the Heisman and whatnot. And they feel like the off-field allegations, going to parties with, going to frat parties in Texas, going to Miami Heat finals game,
Peyton Manning count.
Yeah, I mean those may be red flags against him. But one thing you can't take away is what he do on the field, and that's
Exactly.
that's eye popping.
A lot of times, fans and people who watch sports, they forget that the Heisman is not only it's not a judgment of your on the field play. It also judges your character.
Exactly.
How you are off the field, how you interact with others, with fans, in the classroom. But another thing that I think is kind of blown out of proportion, like we said about him going to Miami to the finals games and things that he does, like going out to frat parties and whatnot. What college student doesn't go to a frat party?
No, we still go.
But see, that's the thing about it. When you're such a superstar, they want to hold you to this pedestal, to this liking that you have to be this, that, and other. Like he said, I'm a college student. I'm gonna live my life, which I have nothing wrong with. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything wrong except for maybe the signing the autograph, which the NCAA find no findings of. So I mean, he's living life. He's living the college student life. He's a rock star. Why not, live up to it?
And he's popular. He's a kid. He's playing great football. If he plays great football and there's an after party for his great football performance,
why not go? I mean,
why can't he attend it?
College only comes around one time, and you should enjoy it while you're there. And then another thing that Heisman voters tend to vote to, they kind of got away from it recently, but it usually goes your team has to be so-and-so in a national spotlight or on the track for a national championship, which I totally disagree on, which that does play a big part in, but sometimes I think it should just go to the best player.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And another person you should look out for who's on the West Coast, who's not getting as much pub as Johnny Manziel, is Marcus Mariota. I mean, this guy, he's putting up video game numbers at Oregon. I mean, he had 400 yards passing in back-to-back games. I mean, it's ridiculous what he does. If they make it to the national championship, which 9 times out of 10 I was looking, they're going to make it. They're going to have a tough matchup against Stanford down the road. That's going to determine whether they go to the national championship or not. But to see him play against maybe a defense like Alabama, it's going to be interesting to see if he can put those numbers like Johnny Manziel did.
Be very interesting. But we're week 2. NFL football is back underway. Last night, the Sunday night game, it was actually an hour and a half delayed due to the rain.
Lightning.
But disregarding all the weather issues, it was still a great football game. The Seattle Seahawks took on the San Francisco 49ers. It wasn't really much of a challenge for the Seahawks that I could see.
Nope, winning 29-2. The Seahawks defense played lights out. I mean, lights out. They had 3 interceptions on Colin Kaepernick, one of the phenoms in the NFL. Man, him looked like a JV quarterback against a varsity team.
Right.
I mean, those guys really came fast. I mean, when they call their home field a 12-man, it literally is a 12-man. I mean, when the last 9 home games, won 8-0 last year at home, and starting 1-0 this year at home. Russell Wilson, the second-year quarterback for the Seahawks, is 9-0 at home.
That's great. And Richard Sherman, he was in the media last year for the controversies and the disagreements that him and Revis had over Twitter. And
Exactly.
Actually had a segment on our show where we wanted to know who was the best corner as between Darrelle Revis and Sherman. So where does he stand now as your ratings?
Like Curtis Killings pointed out, we had a segment on our show on the previous show where I kind of ripped Richard Sherman for coming at Darrelle Revis and saying that he's the best corner or whatnot. But I have to take all that back. Right now, Richard Sherman, if you're listening, you are the best corner in the NFL, my friend. I mean, on the previous show, he only played one. I pointed out that he only played one side. Last year, he only played one side of the field. The other corner, Browning, played the right side of the field. Darrelle Revis followed the best receiver everywhere, whether that's in the slot or the outside, left or the right. Watching Sherman play these first 2 games, he's the definition of a lockdown corner. He's played the outside, the inside, the other side. I mean, he's checking slot receivers. This man, he's lined up against Anquan Bolden, held him to 1 catch, press coverage the whole game. I mean, in his face, a 220-pound receiver now. Press coverage, a guy who had 200 yards the previous week. Anquan Bolden, one of the best receivers in the league.
One of the most physical, and I think it's a big deal that he held Anquan Bolden to the stats that he held him at.
And one more thing, I'm sorry. He also checked Vernon Davis, a tight end, or tight end that runs a 4-3. That shows how versatile that Richard Sherman is.
And in post-game interviews, actually, Richard Sherman stated that all week in practice, it was a question up in the air of who was going to guard Anquan Bolden.
And he wanted that challenge.
And he wanted it. He said he went to Coach Pete Carroll's office a few times throughout the week saying, Coach, can I just follow this guy around? Can we change the defense assignments up to where I'm guarding him?
Exactly.
And I feel like those are big shoes to fill. He filled them. He fulfilled what he wanted. And I
you
think
can
he
talk
should.
that talk and you can back it up. I mean, totally. I mean,
MVP
it's the difference
status.
between talking and then backing it up.
But, we're gonna take it to the top 5 plays of the week with college football.
Take it over the top 5. This is the Johnny Manziel show, basically with the top 5. Look at this. Johnny Manziel eluding the rush.
A loose tackle.
Any other quarterback, that would be a sack. That's a risky throw, but hey, we have receivers like that who just go up and get it. We have Tim Burke with FIU, the pick 6, 92 yards.
Bethune-Cookman's very own Tim Burke.
Right. He has the nickname Burke Island, and so he's living up to it. Look at Tim. Showing a little speed there. Whoop! Touchdown Burke. With the number 3 play. We got Johnny Manziel again with a 92-yard touchdown pass. Look at this. And the legend of Johnny Manziel continues. I bet College Station was going crazy. Their field is also called the 12th man. Look what we have, folks. Johnny Manziel again. Oh, man. Like I said, any average quarterback, that's a sack.
Oh, and he completes it.
Man. Now we're going to take it to the Pee Wee football ranks. I want to see this guy when he gets to college. Look at this kid. Nickname JD. Boom! Out of my face, young man. Watch how he tight-ropes the sideline. Look at this move. That's Peter Wark-esque. We have a little Reggie Bush comparison to him. Look at it. Whoop! Touchdown.
JD, you are never going to have a bigger moment.
He's going for the touchdown, baby.
Well, we've covered Bethune-Cookman this week. Johnny Manziel. We've covered the Floyd Mayweather fight. Top 5 Heisman hopefuls. The big win for Seattle versus the 49ers last night. Top 5 plays of the week. This is Sports Corner. We have a lot of highlights and coverage of all the latest sports coming in the weeks to come. But we've enjoyed you guys today. Hope you enjoyed us as well.
Wait till next week. Charles Wilson.
Curtis Killen.
Thank y'all. Have a good afternoon.